Welcome to Ring Talk Week 78. Steve will be with me shortly, but we're just going to introduce some new changes to the show so you get an idea of what's going to come up. Starting off with a review of last week, which we'll be doing with Steve. Then we're going to move on to something that I've just had dropped on me, which is my weekly rant, which thankfully I've got one lined up. We're going to take a look at a one to watch, so somebody out of the Goodwin stable who's going to tell us a little bit about their career to date. We're going to see some action from their fights. They're going to tell us what's coming up. We're going to do a quiz, which is going to be a different participant each week, and we're going to create a little league table, see who's the smartest. We're going to have a little talk about the role of a journeyman in boxing today. So looking at Jamie Speight, who's gone from Southern Area champion and he's now out on the road taking prospects through the stage of their career. We're going to have a look at the betting zone. So Steve, who is quite the expert on these things, will be giving his input into what the best bets are of the week, and I'll be keeping my mouth shut because I'm terrible at it. And then we're going to have a little look at the Q&A, and we're going to do some of that as usual. So keep looking, keep watching, keep listening, and we'll run through all these things in this week's show. As if by magic, you're here.
I used to be a mind reader and doing that as an act, but these vanishing stuff's a little bit better. Yeah. David Copperfield, I learned it from Copperfield.
Did you see him out in Vegas?
I saw him last time, I thought he was shit.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
He weren't good.
You said about the thing about a video up on the screen.
Yeah, it wasn't good, and he has this story when you go to see him. I know we're sidetracking here, where he introduces this guy into the thing, and he says, oh, his father died of cancer or something, and therefore what we're doing is it's been his dying wish to perform in a show, and today's going to be my assistant. And I thought, oh my God, that's really nice, it's really decent, and this guy's helping him with his act. I find out the next day that he uses that all the time. It's a storyline.
Yeah,
I didn't think that was very nice.
No. So I've got my paper in front of me, so I don't forget what our new sections are. So the idea is we're just going to freshen it up a little bit, give people another reason to watch.
Yeah, to make sure, and it'll be different segments, and people will be able to watch it, and it'll bit of fun and
I think you should do ticket giveaways as well. Mm-hmm. Do an incentive for people to share it.
Okay, we'll do that this week.
Yeah, all right, for the Brexit show.
For the Brexit show, yeah, go on, let's do it.
All right, we'll come up with a reason to do it. I've just made this up, so we'll come up with a reason to do that during the show.
If you watch it through, we will tell you how to get 2 tickets for the Brexit show, and we'll do that at some point when Martin decides to do it, so you have to keep watching.
So I haven't decided when it's going to be, so you just can't keep watching. Yeah. Right, let's touch upon the O2 weekend just gone.
You were there.
I was there.
Let's go through the fights as I saw them. The first fight I saw was the John O'Donnell fight.
Yeah, he didn't turn up for me. Like, he wasn't. I don't know. I've seen John fight many times.
That was when he was under my management, and that was a little while ago.
Yeah, he's not been frequently out enough.
I felt genuinely. I felt that when I was looking after him, I built him with definitely some consistency, and we were on the verge of a British title shot.
Which he was, wasn't he?
Which he was, and things didn't happen, and he decided to change management. And I would just say that he let the time pass him by, and that wasn't probably my. He got paid for it. He got paid, not life-changing money, but I would say that.
It's not great to see him as being used for feeder talent.
Correct. He was basically there was a feed. He was being fed.
Yeah.
And
put someone else over.
For me, I'd built him to. He'd won the Southern Area again. We'd won the English. We were heading for the British. We would have got a British title shot. It was all there, and that was. But now we're talking about 18 months on, where this is what's gone on, and I think he's just got old.
Yeah.
Shame because he was a very talented boxer, but I think he's missed his time, and some of it's self-inflicted. And I think he's a nice guy, but he's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
So I saw John O'Donnell. Then we saw Conor Ben.
Well, Shannon Courtney was on before.
Oh, Shannon Courtney.
So
yeah, that's true.
I'm going to be honest. I was there with my mate Riku, and the thought of watching Shannon Courtney against some woman I've never heard of didn't appeal. So we got up and we went off to the bar. And as we were walking to the bar, this was indicative to me of the issue that you're going to have with women's boxing. And this isn't a personal opinion, it's just indicative. As we were walking out of the arena, out to the bar, I opened up the door for a lady who walked in, and as she walked in, she went, "Oh, women's boxing." So disappointed. And I thought, if you can't inspire women to get behind women's boxing, there's a massive fundamental problem with the way the sport is going. I think if women can't be inspired by it and women can't take an interest in it, then that's a problem.
I think, and I'm being honest, I think that if you take somebody like Terry Harper, Steffi Ball's girlfriend,
fighting this weekend.
Yeah. Now she's great. She's exciting, talented. I watch her and enjoy watching her. There are women out there who, in my opinion, are not so talented, aren't that good to watch, and don't possess it. And if you're not at that level, I think too many women. And there's another one or two that I just don't want to mention, but 2 or 3 that I can mention. I just don't feel they should be getting airtime because I don't think it's doing women's boxing. And I'll go back to David Hay when he put Rosanna Begum on Channel 5. Yeah. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Of women's boxing. The worst advert, ruined the TV contract. It was just awful. But there are other promoters that are promoting the wrong women, and they shouldn't be. Yeah. So let's move on. So anyway, so forget that fight. That's not relevant to me. Conor Ben was next.
Yeah. I was still in the bar. I've got to be honest.
To be honest,
when he's fighting someone whose name, his moniker in the ring is his brother of
Stefan Jamoy. Yeah.
Why am I going to care? Well, he's nothing against Conor.
He was 20s on to win. He needs a proper fight.
Yeah.
And good luck to Conor. He's got, he has had limited amateur experience. He's been, as I said last week, he's been brilliantly managed, coordinated by Matchroom. They're doing a brilliant job with him. But he's going to have to fight at some point.
Agree. My issue is he's a full-time athlete. He's got big sponsorship deals with Reebok, etc.
Yeah.
He's trained out of Matchroom alongside world champions, former world champions. Mm-hmm. He's got all those advantages, and good luck to him, and good luck in taking them. But in the meantime, I don't need to see him in knockover jobs.
I totally accept that. Okay, so moving on from him, Lawrence Coley.
Oh, do we have to relive this?
Can I summarise what I think? I mean, Lawrence as a person, he's a really nice guy, but Eddie Hearn is trying to build pay-per-view stars. Lawrence Coley is very good at what he does, although I think when if he goes and fights away from where he could easily get disqualified. I mean, he blamed that guy for causing all the whole. Lawrence goes in and that again. Very similar to what Klitschko did. Whilst you're boxing at home, you get away with it. When he boxes away, he won't get away with it. And the problem you've got is he's never going to be a pay-per-view star. So what do you do with him? He's talented in his own way. He's effective at what he does. But I don't like watching Lawrence Coley fights.
No, agree. He's talented. He's got a fantastic record. He's been fast-tracked. He's got all that stuff going for him. But I don't care. I can't get excited about watching him. It doesn't interest me to watch him. His style hasn't changed despite going through 3 trainers now. Mm-hmm. None of that stuff interests me about him. But good luck to him. He's now the European, proper European champion, not some WBO bullshit European champion. He's the proper European champion. He's been British champion. All that
stuff. He's been Commonwealth champion. Yeah. So he's doing it all the right way. I just don't know where the end product gets him because he's not going to have enough. People aren't going to want to pay to watch him.
No, agree.
So I don't know what the end game is. Eddie's going to have to work his magic.
Yeah. Price Chisora?
What I expected.
Yep.
David Price, he's got 4 rounds in him. He fought like he was scared. He's been a great servant to boxing, David. I think the reason he's ended up in this situation is a long period of mismanagement, of bad decisions, of bad choices that ruined what he had because he's a confidence fighter and that confidence has been totally shot out of him. Beating David Allen, Cash Ali and Tom Little is not Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora's levels above that and it showed. It was always going to be that. You said that, didn't you? And it was what it was. I hope David Price never fights again. Derek Chisora now moves on. Derek Chisora will struggle against a mover, which is, I keep saying the same thing, that in that Monaco fight, when he fights Caballero or anybody like that, he will struggle against the movers. When you've got these guys like the Prices, like these guys that do stand there, he'll look $1 million and beat him up.
And it's not being horrible, but Price isn't a top 5 British heavyweight, let alone world heavyweight.
Correct.
So the concept and the talk that the winner of this goes on to the biggest fights next year, to me, ludicrous, because you're beating someone who wouldn't win a British title.
Well, David Price was only called in last minute because the fight with Parker fell through.
Yeah.
That was never going to be the plan, and it was a cash out fight.
And to be clear, David Price is on the wrong end of an awful lot of bad governance and luck. With, you look back at the drug cheats that he's lost to over time, and I include Povetkin within that.
Yeah,
all those things. I feel for David Price. He's had a really good career. I'd like to see him stop.
But he could have been better with better choices.
Yeah. Selby Burns?
It was alright. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Josh watched it with me and he thought it was a really good fight. I wasn't that mad on the fight. I know people said what a great fight it was. To me, it wasn't a great fight, but it was what it was. I thought Selby nicked it, but I just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was looking at two fighters who I think are in decline.
Yeah.
Fighting, and I don't think I can get up for two fighters in decline.
Yeah. When there's nothing, the problem I had with it, I found the first 6 rounds quite captivating, and then they just repeated themselves. And when you're watching a fight, you're thinking, what am I watching? Are these the best in the world? Are they up and coming? No to both of those things. They're both on the decline, I'm sure they would admit themselves. And then you're thinking, well, what's next for either of these? Like, you wouldn't want to see a world title for either of them. What do you do with them? Do you just feed them to somebody who's up and coming? I don't know, but I didn't hate the fight or anything like that. I thought it was okay, but then I never expected it to be
Got one of
more.
them in with Ritz and whatever's. I think they're just intermingle to make the shows work. I think that's what they're doing a lot of now anyway.
Yeah.
They're just planting everybody together to make shows work.
Yeah.
There's not the building. They're not building that level of fighter Matchroom. They're building they'll take the real high level fighters, but those other fighters they just put them all in.
And do you know what? That fight is a sign that they're not building fighters. Because if they were building fighters, that fight wouldn't have happened. That'd be my view.
I think so.
And then finally, Prograis Taylor.
No, that was a believable fight. I thought it was a brilliant fight. So I think overall it saved the show, because as a pay-per-view show, that fight lived up to every expectation. It was phenomenal.
You'd pay for that fight. You don't really care what
pay-per-view was worth it on that fight. I'd have paid £20 just to watch that fight. It was an amazing fight, and for both fighters deserve immense credit. It was just a fantastic fight. It wasn't like one of these one-sided beatdowns like Luke Campbell against Lomachenko, which was just a beatdown. This was just amazing. Full credit to both. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I will touch on it. Didn't enjoy the judge's decision. I thought that was appalling. But the 117, 112, the guy needs to be never allowed near a boxing ring again, because Stevie Wonder could have scored that better. But apart from that, and we touched on this last week, it's funny how it never goes 117, 112 for the opposing fighter. Always. It's true though, isn't it? You wouldn't have got, doesn't matter what had happened, it wouldn't be 117, 112 Prograis. And that's what annoys me about boxing. But apart from that, and you can't let it take you out of it, you could have scored it either way. Whoever had won, whether it was a draw, I don't think anybody could have argued. It was just a brilliant fight and a credit to the sport. Yeah, no,
it was just enthralling. Like, Taylor started so well, Prograis came back towards the middle of the fight, Taylor ended it superbly.
Prograis won the last round. I thought he won the last 2 rounds, but I only gave him the last round.
But any other fighter you suspect in that weight division wouldn't have lasted the 12 rounds.
Agree.
Only those 2 fighters could have lasted those 12 rounds.
They're both exceptional.
Yeah, it was just brilliant to watch. I'm so chuffed for Josh Taylor. Like, coming out of the amateur scene as a Commonwealth gold medalist, but never making it onto that Olympic squad. And the way that he's been managed by Cyclone is superb. And I always think back, he came to prominence for me.
He did fight in the Olympics.
Did he fight in the Olympics? Okay, apologies. But he came to prominence for me in that Dave Ryan fight, when you go back to that one. Because you thought at the time Dave Ryan is a battle-hardened, tough motherfucker that people don't really stop Dave Ryan, and Josh Taylor ran through him.
Yeah.
And then the way that his career from there has been managed, the South African guy that he fought for the Commonwealth, the Ahara Davis fight, and then all these fights, all these styles that he's had before he got to world level, and been matched hard in the process.
Been well managed by the McGuigans. I think you've got to take your hat off and say they've done a brilliant job with him.
Yep.
And one thing you can say, he's been brilliantly trained by Shane, brilliantly managed by Barry, and the McGuigans have done a fantastic job with him.
Yeah.
I take my hats off to them.
So no, it was brilliant, and Prograis in losing was exceptional, and his reaction to it was exceptional, and just it was reaffirming of what you love about boxing is two high level, elite level boxers going at it, and then the photos you see the next day where Josh's eye is a balloon and they're like having a drink and saying hello to each other's families, all that stuff's just lovely.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So it was great. It was a good night's boxing. Moving on to they got one this week, which is obviously not going to be the same, but it's a normal Sky show. So I'm looking forward to that. More about that in the betting zone this week.
You're looking forward to it? I'm not.
I'm looking forward to one fight.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the cards are atrocious.
The cards not great, but I'm looking forward to one fight because I think it's going to generate me some money.
Right, so that's it in terms of the show from last weekend.
I think we're going to move on now to Martin's Weekly Rant.
Martin's Weekly Rant.
My weekly rant, week number 1. So I'm going to touch on this very, very briefly in certain places. Bieber. Right, the lot they'd sanctioned for Nigel Benn versus Sakio Bika, which has now fallen apart. But they're still going ahead with the show. Tommy Jacobs versus Joshua Clottey, I think, is going to headline it. I have so many questions about this, because the other day Gianluca De Caro, who's the chief executive of Bieber, had put up a post when the show had fallen apart at the top level, but the rest of it's going on, saying that he was in conversations with sponsors, he was in conversations with other promoters to take the show on, he was in conversations with the venue. All these things that in a boxing world would normally sit with a promoter. And I have to ask Steve about this at some point when we've got it back on camera. But if you're the chief exec of a boxing board, why are you the one dealing with all of these different areas such as sponsors, TV shows, venues? That is down to the promoter. And then you're trying to find a new promoter for a show. Who was the old promoter? That's what I'm intrigued in, because on the eventing website it says Dark Destroyer Holdings Limited were presenting it. Who from Dark Destroyer Holdings was the promoter? Or if anyone, I don't know, I want these answers. And then Professor Michael Graham, who was the head specialist. Someone send me some information about Professor Michael Graham. I'd love to know, because you look on any forum, any web-based search engine, Google Scholar, there is nothing about Professor Michael Graham outside of a Bieber framework. And some work from a karate tournament a few years back with self-fulfilling hypothesis all over the place. There's nothing there. And he was the one that cleared Nigel Benn to fight. I've asked Gianluca on Facebook for this information. I've not been given it. So that's my rant for the week. Is I would like Bieber do some good things. They do good things with head scanners for boxers. But when you've got all these question marks over it, what's it about? I'm not really sure. So. Week 1, done. Right, that's done. My rant's over. What do you make of it?
I just think these bodies they're trying to set up against the Boxing Board of Control, but they're doing so many bad things they lose credibility.
Yeah.
Full stop. It's not credible.
There were too many question marks for me over
a lot of things
raised.
they do. Yeah.
But there you go. Moving on to more positive things. Ellis Zorro.
Yeah, now he's our one to watch this week.
Yeah, so Ellis is going to tell us a bit about himself and his career. What do you, as a promoter and manager, find about Ellis that works so well for him?
It's his commitment and his total positivity of everything he does. He came over 3 amateur fights, right? And he got his license on a trial. They looked at him and they passed him. But the improvement since he started boxing has been incredible. Incredible. One of the biggest improvements from day one to today that I've seen in a boxer. He's 7-0 now. I think he's Southern Area level already. And he could be anything, absolutely anything.
And he's not just 7-0, he's 7-0 with knockouts on his record.
He's stopping people that other people aren't.
As he's going to tell us in a minute, he's got an interesting story about his trainer or the fact that he struggled to get a trainer. But I won't give any spoilers about it.
I remember that because we went through that process with him. But he's now trained by Mikey Burke, and he's making great progress, and I'm delighted to see him. He works really hard. He knows he's got to sell tickets. He knows he's got to build a fan base. He's always got a good fan base there. I hope into 2020 to be able to get him a slot on a TV platform and other shows which I'll be working on. I see no reason why we can't do that, and I think he deserves that. He deserves to have other opportunities. He's going through his apprenticeship. He's fighting again this month on the 30th of November on the massive show at York Hall. But I think that 2020 we can. I think he needs. He's not ready. He doesn't want to go for title checks. He needs to do some more rounds, maybe 6-round, 8-rounders. But I think we will be looking to develop him and look at other platforms for him as well. But full credit to what he's doing. I think he deserves every credit in the world.
So that's enough about us talking about Ellis Zorro. We're now going to hear from Ellis Zorro talking about Ellis Zorro, where he's up to, what he's been up to, and where he's going.
Hi guys, my name is Ellis Zorro. I'm currently 7-0 with 4 knockouts. My career thus far has been good. Obviously I'm undefeated, so that's a good thing. But when I first turned pro, I was facing a lot of challenges and I had a lot of hard times. Everybody knows that I turned pro with 3 amateur fights. So when I did turn pro and I was looking for a trainer, loads of trainers were turning me away, saying that I was not experienced enough to be a pro, saying that I needed to go back to the amateurs and have more fights. Like, they wouldn't even have a look at me. But I still believed that I wanted to go pro and pursue this thing. So I was having to teach myself how to box, if I'm honest. Like, I was learning a lot of YouTube in my early days. And then when I did finally find a coach, even in some of my earlier performances as a pro, I feel like a lot of my performances are being overlooked, considering I was as inexperienced as I was, and the guys that I was fighting and how I was winning them fights, based on who they had fought in previous contests. I feel like just some of my performances are being looked at as flukes or just an anomaly. Going forward, I've been with Mickey Burke for my last 2 fights, and I'm coming off 2 stoppages with him. I'm really learning so much about what it's like to structure a training camp, what it's like to really be a pro. Since I've been with Mickey, I'm growing in confidence, I'm learning, I'm growing all the time, I'm enthusiastic. Like I said, I've had 7 fights, 6 of them have been 4-rounders, 1 has been a 6-rounder. I've got my next 6-rounder coming up at the end of November. So yeah, going forward, I just want to stay active, I just want to keep fighting, I just want to keep winning. I do want to build up in the rounds and have some 8-rounders eventually. I do believe I could fight and win the Southern Area title right now, but obviously from a managerial perspective, considering I've only had 1 6-rounder, I understand why it's not the best decision to make. So if that's not the case, then I really want to showcase my skills on a TV platform, fight at different venues, fight in front of bigger crowds, and gain my experience in that way. But all in all, I'm in a good place, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Okay, so welcome to the Quickfire Quiz. This is something that'll be going on every week. Sometimes it will be Martin doing the questions, sometimes it will be me. It's going to be 60 seconds.
Is it only me versus you throughout all of this?
I'm going to ask the questions. You've got to get as many right in 60
But are we going to bring other people in as well to do the answers? Or is
Just
it...
you.
No, not that, like on other weeks as well. Is it
no,
always...
other people.
Oh,
you only
cool.
got to do it once. You're going to be top of
Some
the,
shit.
You're going to be top of the leaderboard after one week,
it won't
and then
last
we'll
long.
then see who comes in, and there'll be questions that we'll be firing across to people. But for today, because this was only decided that we were going to do this today, we didn't have time to get a proper guest in, so you're going to have to do.
Well, that's all right. I've previously done pop-up pirate with boxers. I've been smashed in the body. This is nothing.
Exactly. So, are we ready to go? I'm going to tell you when
He's got the timer.
I've got the timer. So, we are going to start now. How many fights did Lawrence Okoli win in the 2016 Olympics?
4.
No, 1. In what year did Eddie Hearn promote his first boxing show?
2011.
Wrong. 2012. Who was the first?
Well.
Who was the first GB boxer to be eliminated in the 2012 Olympics?
Josh Taylor.
Correct. What age was Martin Theobald when he bought his first Transformer figure?
32.
Correct. 2. How many Southern Area Cruiserweight title fights did Wally Camacho win?
7.
No, 6. What round did Linus Udofia stop Darren Cardona to earn his shot at the English
5.
title? No, 7.
Bollocks.
What year did the first ever pro show take place at York Hall?
1909.
34. Who did Mike Tyson beat to be the world heavyweight champion? Time out. Did you know it?
Who did he beat? Yeah, I do, but not now.
Trevor Burbage.
Yeah, there we go.
You
2.
scored a massive total of 2.
2, one of which was a Transformer duvet question.
So, everybody that's coming on next week, it's Amakiani next week. We still got some questions left. 2 points to beat.
I ought to get to write these questions for next week. That's atrocious. I'd have got the next one.
You wouldn't.
Probably.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Oh, that was bad. That was
so
bad.
there we go. Martin Theobald, leaderboard 2. Everybody now that's going to come on is going to try and beat that. I don't think it's going to be a difficult score to beat.
No, we'll cancel it henceforth.
And it shows how limited your boxing knowledge is.
Oh, I agree. It's terrible. However, I'm now champion emeritus, so fuck you all.
Or what's the other one? Franchise champion.
Franchise champion. Yeah, you can't even challenge me for it. So, moving on from people who are useless at the sport, which is me, to someone who's achieved a lot in the sport, in Jamie Speight, which people will probably. I'm not saying that a lot of people forget, but if you saw him now and you watched his record and you watched him fight today, you probably don't appreciate the Jamie Speight that was fighting Josh Warrington, the Jamie Speight that was fighting Isaac Lowe, the Jamie Speight that was picking up titles, all those things. So he's got a fascinating background of achievement and now body of work as a journeyman. So Jamie's going to tell us about what it's like being out on the road fighting week after week after week.
And what he wants in the future of boxing, and he's going to have a little chat about where he comes, because I manage him and he's an absolute pleasure and an honour to manage. He's one of the nicest guys you could deal with. He comes and has a go. He is just a wonderful person to deal with, and I've got the utmost respect for him. And Jamie's going to take his opportunity. He's never short of a few words, is Jamie, and he's going to take some time now to talk.
Yeah, and I was chatting about Jamie at the weekend, as it happens, with the guy who is on Twitter as Pulling the Punch, who's a cameraman who does some stuff down at York Hall and your shows. And we were discussing Jamie, and he was saying Jamie's one of his favourites as a journeyman. Just the conversations that he has, and he's saying, when I'm taking photos, I see him going, "Good shot, mate. Good shot. Yeah, that's a great shot."
Do you know what Jamie said to me today? He said, "I actually am not a journeyman. I'm a teacher."
Yes. Yeah.
That's what he says, and I think he's true. These guys that fight him are learning a hell of a lot boxing him. Hell of a lot.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to do his corner for his last. Was it his last fight? I don't know if he's fought again since then.
He's fought. No, it's his last one in York Hall. Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to do his corner for that, and thankful to Liam Conroy for allowing me to help out with it. And just seeing his attitude in between rounds, and I know he's done hundreds, if not thousands, of rounds, but just being able to witness how he goes through those motions each time was fascinating. But probably not as fascinating as Jamie talking about himself. And as you say, he'll never miss an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Evening, I'm Jamie Speight, a professional boxer. My record is 15 wins, 41 losses, no draws. I'm a former 3-time 2-weight Southern Area champion, International Masters light welterweight champion, International Challenge Belt featherweight champion, IBO International Challenger, WBC Silver International Challenger, and I fought for a British title eliminator. So yeah, I've been around the block a bit. I've been in with some very big names in the world of boxing, especially British boxing. I'm now on the road. I chose to go on the road because it cost me £600 to £700 a year to hold a licence, and I was earning very, very little whilst doing so. So I decided to go on the road, fight in the away corner, save myself the hassle of selling tickets and the pressure of selling tickets, and earn a living that way. I've enjoyed it, and it certainly has given me a different insight into the other sides of boxing. I don't really see my role as a journeyman. I believe that I'm far better than what you would normally class as a journeyman. I see myself as an in-ring teacher. I try my hardest to develop fighters and give them advice whilst on the job. I believe the best way to learn is whilst on the job. So what I do is, you'll often hear me, if you're ringside, giving advice such as, don't hold that left hand higher, don't lead with the left hook, etc, etc. Don't broadcast the right hand. And I try my hardest to give them something that I wish I had when I was a young pro starting out. I don't see myself as a journeyman, even though I am. I try my best to give the best I can advice and help teach people. At the same time, stay safe, earn some good money, and keep moving on. If the opportunity arises where there's a fight there I think I can win, I get good notice for it or whatever, and everything's gone tickety-boo, then obviously I'll take it. But you've also got to be a bit weary. In the line of work that I'm in, you get a win, sometimes you'll lose a couple of weeks' work from it. You string together a couple of wins, all of a sudden the phone goes dead. So you're in a lose-lose situation, really, a catch-22. But yeah, it's certainly given me a very good insight into the other side of boxing, and how it is to be the away fighter. And yeah, I'll be happy to answer any questions that people want to fire my way, and I'm sure I can open a few eyes with the answers. Thanks for your time.
There we go, so we're back. Jamie Speight, thank you very much for taking the time to do the video. And yeah, you'll see him if you're at York Hall, or he fights up and down the country as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which is amazing, given that he's like Plymouth based, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, we're moving on to one of your favourite subjects, betting.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it. Well, I love to make money, and I think what we're going to do every week is talk about if there are any opportunities, but if there are any, but we're going to specify recommendations if I'm having my own money on.
Right, which you are this week.
I am this week. Now, what I want to stress about betting, so that people don't get this isn't about picking round 2 at 10 to 1. When you don't, we are talking about finding value and making money. And I'm going to scale the bets on a 1 to 5. 1 to 5.
Okay.
And this is a 4. And the bottom line with it is if you follow it, we will be making profits over the aim to make continued profits.
You can't guarantee that, by the way.
I'm guaranteeing the aim.
If you lose, it's not on Steve.
No, it's not mine. But the aim is to make continual profits. But there may only be bet a month or something like that. And then maybe we'll give you some indicators if we think there's some values kicking around. The problem with this weekend's betting is, unfortunately, the matchroom card is so 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 30, which is so uncompetitive that there aren't that many opportunities around. But there is one outstanding opportunity, and that is Felix Cash to beat Jack Cullen. It's 2 to 5. You might say, I don't want to bet at 2 to 5. You should bet at 2 to 5 when it should be 1 to 6, 1 to 7. Felix Cash is a class amateur. Now, I know this division because Linus Udofi was due to fight Cullen after he beat John Harding Jr. So we have been watching this with great intensity, to say the least. Now, Cullen beat Harding Jr., and that was actually my last boxing bet. Right. Was actually Cullen to beat Harding Jr.
Yeah, because you don't do it every week, do you? You do it when you spot an opportunity rather than a punt.
And that was my last bet. It was Cullen to beat Harding Jr. I thought that was an outstanding bet.
You were away, weren't you?
I was in Turkey. We were sitting there, we'd all lumped on. And everybody won a fair bit of money.
I had to keep texting you up.
That's right, yeah. And it was great. And to be honest, I just knew that was all the wrong price and everything else. But you see, Cullen's got a great record, and therefore his odds are shorter than they should be. But the point is with Cullen, he had trouble at times against Harding Jr. Not lots of trouble, but he had trouble at times. Felix Cash wouldn't have had any trouble with John Harding, with all due respect to John, and neither would Linus Udofi have any trouble with John Harding. They would be winning those fights much more comfortably than Cullen. Cash is a class operator. Cullen's jab will not work against Cash. Cash will work around it, beat him up, and I would expect to stop him mid to late or win on points. But I don't like predicting, because I don't know whether there can be points or what round. We don't do that. We go for the percentage call, which is Cash 2 to 5, 4 points to win. it's a decent bet for me, and we will hopefully be making a fair few quid, and I'll be spending some of it on Saturday night when I go out for Trevor's evening.
Oh God, is this his birthday or something?
Yeah.
Oh, Trevor.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will be.
He has no questions this week.
That'd be wild, whatever it is. Cool. Right, so there you go. So cash to beat Cullen 2-5.
That's the bet for the week.
Awesome.
And then there's nothing else to really talk about because there's no significant advantage, and the Matchroom card is too uncompetitive to really analyse.
When there's not anything to talk about betting wise in terms of obvious things to bet on, I think we should ask. I'm going to ask because I'm naive to betting. I don't really understand it. So I'm going to ask some general questions around betting in boxing because it's not something I really know.
That's a good idea. And if there's not a bet, we can talk about betting. And if anybody out there wants to ask questions about betting, fire in specific betting questions, and we can deal with that in this section.
I understand odds, but that's about it. I don't really go any further than that.
Okay, no, that's a good idea.
Cool. So before we move on to the Q&A, you have to tell us how many questions did I get right in the quiz. If you can tweet us that or share this video with it, then you can earn 2 tickets to the Brexit show. The winner will be picked at random.
Yeah,
two tickets.
How many questions did Martin get right in the Q&A? You have to answer that and then retweet, and also retweet this episode.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And also, what position am I in the league table?
Yeah.
And don't put bottom. Even though that's equally true as top. Right, so the Q&A, we're going to skip over some of them this week and save them for next week. But before we do that, I just want to say the shows you've got coming up, because I haven't actually mentioned the dates of them. November 30th, November 23rd, November 22nd.
So 22nd at Plymouth, Bradpool's Robbie Chapman. 23rd, Brexit show. Lots of talent. We're headlined by Neil Parry, Yasser Gainer, which is a real 50-50 fight. And obviously the show we've gone on about, the 4 title fights on the 30th. 3 English titles, 1 Southern Area. Jamani Kimura, Justin Menzies on the undercard. Dominic Felix, Double Church. Great. That 30th is great. Is an absolute phenomenal card.
Yeah. myfighttickets.com.
Yeah, for what's left, the ringside. I think the last call, Alan said 4 left. 4 ringsides left. That's it.
For November 30th.
That's it.
Wow.
And we're nearly sold out. We are nearly sold out of everything.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, get on myfighttickets.com or speak to the boxers, whichever works for you. Right, so some of the questions we'll run through. I've got to touch on this one from Brad Pauls, who you just mentioned, who's fighting on 22nd of November in Plymouth against Robbie Chapman. A question to me specifically, and then to you afterwards. If you had to pick any promoter or manager you think you could beat in a 4-rounder, who would it be? So I'm going to pick that I think I could beat, or would I enjoy having a tear-up with? They're two... I don't know.
You can answer both. Anyway, go on.
Who do I think I could beat? Mick Hennessy. I think I could take Mick. I do.
Probably got movement.
I'll dance around him for a few rounds. Yeah, no problem.
What about Mo Pryor then? Probably.
I think, yeah.
Because just
Look, I'm not calling these people out. I just think in a 4-rounder, I think I've got a good chance.
I'll tell you one you wouldn't beat. Mickey Elliott.
No, he was a good boxer.
Mickey Elliott was a good boxer. Yeah. He'd probably lay you flat.
Nah, I don't want that smoke. Nah, not at all. Who would I enjoy though? The one I'd really enjoy hasn't got a board license. So. There we go. Who about you?
I've got a problem. I can't call name right, but I can't fight anymore. I used to be alright, but I didn't mind having now and again having a little bit of a punch up if we had to. But because of what I've got, if I take blows to the head, I've got to go to the. So I can't call anybody out, because if I do, I can't back it up in my current health, my permanent health situation. So I can't really say it. There was loads in my, even 10 years ago, that I would love. One I would have trained my nuts off to have gone in and knocked the shit out of him. Well. But there's a couple of others I wouldn't mind having to go at as well. But there we go. I'm going to leave my bit there.
Yeah. So no, I'm not saying I want to fight any of them. I'm just saying they're the ones if I had to.
I couldn't beat anybody now.
Yeah.
So that's my problem.
I think Bob Arum, 83-year-old weed smoker or whatever he is, I reckon I could take him. No problem.
What about Oscar De La Hoya?
Yeah. Only a little midget, isn't he? It's alright, miles away. Yeah. There's no risk of that.
Yeah.
He'd be in fishnets anyway. Heavens above on Twitter. There's been much talk about the behaviour of fans at big boxing events, such as matchroom boxing events, notably last Saturday. Drink, drugs, fighting.
Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I'll
you did
tell
see
you
it?
some more in a sec, actually. No different to racing. What can boxing do to eradicate it, and has boxing created a commercial monster?
Well, I used to have a racing business, didn't I? And there was never those troubles when I was involved in racing. But it's gone now. Apparently, there's fights all the time with horse racing now.
You see the clips of it, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's really gone bad. And apparently, it's gone to boxing. I don't go to the big event. I don't like the big events. I like to go to smaller hall, good small hall shows. So big events, I never stay for. I just leave. So it's really hard for me to say. It's a shame if that's going on. What happened on Saturday then?
I'll give you two examples. I walked into the toilet. We got there early for the John O'Donnell fight because we wanted to see that. And the O2 was fairly empty. So you walk into the toilet, and it's a very long toilet because it's the O2. There's plenty of room. And there was only me and one other guy in there. The other guy was right up the end of the toilet, just on his hand going... Like, I thought, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Whatever. Like, crack on. But at least hide it, mate.
That's really
At least do something to hide
again,
it.
that goes on everywhere. So
Of course it does.
It goes in any pub you go in the
I'm not
country.
judging. What doesn't happen everywhere? I went into the toilet later on in the night. If you go into the toilet at the O2 at a boxing event, I'm sure anyone who was there will, back this up. You go into the toilet and it's just a cloud of smoke. That people just smoking in the toilets.
Oh, really?
Horrendously. And then every now and then you get the security guards come in saying, put your cigarettes out, blah, blah. Then they'll say, you need to put your cigarettes out because if you don't, it's going to set the fire alarms off and then we won't be able to have the main event. Whereas I was thinking, your fire alarms clearly aren't on. Because if they were on, they'd have gone off from this. Therefore, not to be a total geek about it, but what on earth are the O2 doing about their fire? Like, if there was a legitimate fire in there, there's nothing
that's a really good point.
So, yeah, that was I say not to be too down about it.
But I think to a certain extent, there's always been trouble. There's been trouble. There used to be more trouble at, say, the Frank Warren shows than Eddie Hearn's. But if you're telling, was there fights there?
No, I didn't see any fights at all. So yeah, maybe I missed one, whatever. But I'm not judging people. I don't care. Do whatever you want there.
But I think in terms of fights, it's really hard. I haven't really witnessed. I witnessed a fight once at a Sowland show at Wembley Arena. There was a big punch up in the crowd. But I think it's just a case when you get a lot of drink and a lot of people with adrenaline, it's going to happen.
Do you know the biggest one I've ever seen was at Fury Chisora 2 at where was it? Not Wembley Arena. Excel.
Well, they ban boxing now.
Probably after that, I suspect. Honestly, because I wasn't drinking that night, I was driving. You're more aware of everything. You're more conscious than when you're drinking, where stuff kind of passes you by a little bit. That night was awful. I was there with my mate Andy, and just smoking going on out in the arena bit. Like not even hiding it in the toilets, just people sat there. It was like the old days. You'd see the haze of smoke. There were fights everywhere, like little pockets of fights breaking out. And then at the Excel, you have where the boxing arena is, then there's a big bar area, and then you have to leave after that. People just pissing against the walls in this massive bar area, walking across. I swear to God, at one point it was like Saving Private Ryan. There were just bodies strewn across the floor, blood. You're like, I just want to get out of here. Like, I'm not comfortable. It's not my environment. I'm not adverse.
That's a real shame because it will turn people away if that goes on.
Yeah,
but again, I don't know what they can do about it.
No. Boxing domination on Twitter. Now that we have seen Dion Juma is a massive force in the cruiserweight division, is there any opponent you've got in mind for his first title defence?
Well, I can't have anybody in mind because he's been mandated. It's been mandated. He's got to fight Sam Hyde. So that's already in the board website. That's gone out to purse bids. So we'll know more about that next month.
Which is the British title eliminator.
Final eliminator, and it's a defence of his English title as well.
Cool. I'm just trying to work through this because we're going to leave some for next week. Those that aren't time dependent necessarily. LPC123 on Twitter. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big must Jamie Speight's cock be to have pulled the woman he has done?
It's got to be a 10, hasn't it?
Got to be.
Because, not being funny, he's not good looking.
He's not good looking.
And she's actually not a bad looking lady.
Lovely looking bird.
And she's got to spend her nights with him and looking at that. So there must be an added bonus. It's got to be that. So
is that journeyman money paying off?
Obviously he's got something, but it definitely in his looks.
Yeah. Right, one last one, and then I'm going to save the rest for next week. So apologies if I haven't read yours today. As a UK Boxing 11 on Twitter, because I've already asked kind of about this, Joe G says the plan for Juma Hyde is for it to go on a Matchroom show, then the winner to fight Riakporhe Massey winner. Does that sound about right?
I don't know why Joe Gallagher has decided already what's going to happen with the purse bids. Congratulations to him.
He knows
the last time he went for a purse bid with Callum Smith against one of my fighters,
is that Lee Markham?
We won the purse bid. So I don't know why he thinks that's going to happen. Maybe. We'll see.
So it hasn't been decided that it's going on a match.
No, it hasn't. So I'm afraid Joe Gallagher doesn't have the right to say that. It may do, it may not. It may go on a Joe Gallagher show. You never know. It might go on one of our shows. Who knows? But again, to go and make that statement while something's out to purse bids, we haven't had an offer that we've accepted.
So there you go. So nothing is decided. Nothing's
going to purse bids. We're at the moment preparing a purse bid.
And when's that? It's a couple of weeks.
Yes, in December, second week of December. So there'll be a purse bid, and then after the purse bids go in, it will be announced. But there has been no offer from Matchroom, so I don't know. And again, even if there was an offer, we wouldn't know that it'd be enough money. So we'll have to see. But people make these sweeping statements as if they're God. They're not God.
So we don't know.
We don't know.
Cool. Right. Give us feedback on the new format. What do you like? What do you not like? What else would you like to see? And we'll take it all into account, ignore it, and carry on doing what we do. No, do though. Let us know. And we shall do our best to accommodate any requests. But thank you very much for sticking with us. We should be back next week, and we might tweak things, we might not. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
All right, lovely. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.